Hello, everyone. I'm back, and this is Dr. Pal Singh Teja, and I'm BBS MD in pharmacology. And initially, I had started with the sessions of informed consent document and protocol writing. Now, what I'm going to do today I'm going to uh, talk about how to write an effective introduction. Basically, what happens is the model that we tend to follow is for writing a research paper is the IMRAD model, where I stands for introduction, M for methodology, R for result, and discussion. So that is known as the IMRAD model, and this is what I'm going to talk about. What I will do is I'll segregate all these four subtopics into different areas so that I can focus on one particular aspect at one particular point of time. And today my focus would be on writing an effective introduction. Now, introduction forms the initial part of a research paper, and it tends to tell what is your research question, what is the lacuna that you are trying to address, and how we could have an effective writing introduction. That is what the focus would be today on. So, without wasting much of a time, I'll start with writing an introduction, and uh, whenever we want to write an introduction, there are certain points that we need to take care of, and that is what I'm going to talk about today. So we start with when we are talking about writing an effective introduction, what I mean by this per se is that I am talking about writing an introduction either for the purpose of your thesis, purpose of your protocol presentation, purpose of your synopsis presentation, purpose of writing a research paper. So we first what we want to do is we want to write or we want to discuss about introduction, often overlooked, but this forms an important concept of the research paper or the protocol or your synopsis or maybe your thesis. So what I'm going to do is in this session I would be talking about what is the purpose of introduction and what are the various components that should be there for an introduction. We have to designate some word limits to an introduction, and that is where we need to focus ourselves on, and that is what my focus would be. So uh, title obviously is a USP, a unique selling point of your uh, research paper or maybe your protocol, which tends to convey uh, impact on what you want to go ahead with. Abstract gives a brief overview because abstract is another aspect which gives a brief overview of what your study is and what actually is your results and what are your conclusions. We will be talking about how to write an abstract at a later section because introduction forms the first thing of a paper. So the next thing that a reviewer sees or uh, any committee sees is the introduction. So introduction is the next big thing which your audience would read. To gain an effective emphasis on introduction, you will gain a widespread read of your paper. So what you need to do is, for writing an introduction, you should always begin strongly. And you should be able to highlight your introduction to reviewer. What is this paper about? Why you are talking about this particular paper? And what basically for pattern that we follow for the introduction is funnel type of pattern. You start with a broad area and then you narrow down to a particular specific research question that you want to answer, and you highlight your or you emphasize your point on that particular question, that this is the reason that we are taking this particular paper or this particular thesis into view. So the introduction is often labeled, sometimes also called as background. It tends to give introduction of the topic, what you are going to research on, as well as introduction also gives an overview of your aims, and even to an extent it also gives a view of your hypothesis that you have generated, or the research question that you have generated, or the research question that you are about to answer. So initially, whenever you are planning writing a research paper or thesis, the first thing that you should put your focus on is introduction. And by introduction, we mean that you have to create interest in your work. You have to advertise your work. You have to tell what is the lacunae, what are you trying to emphasize on. And the purpose of this is, as I told you, that we have follow a funnel type of model. We start from a broad area to a specific area, and you tend to explain the significance of a research question, which I've already highlighted. You tend to summarize the current understanding on the research question, which could be followed by a statement of research or a hypothesis, and it can also contain a brief methodology aspect of your paper also. Even that could be included, but it is a brief methodology. That means by this particular work, we would like to bring into note that this particular drug, or maybe this particular therapy, or this particular intervention, or any other aspect is better than what is conventionally followed. So that is, you are going to give a brief methodology that a patient comes, and what we tend to hypothesize that our hypothesis is that we'll have this particular aspect and patient would be benefited from it. So there are certain questions that you need to answer whenever you are writing an introduction. The first question that you need to answer is, what am I studying? Is it relevant? Why I want to do it? Why it's important? What is already known on this topic? And how my research advances new knowledge or creates a new way of understanding. So let's say uh, I want to study a particular topic. Let's say I'll go with, I want to study depression, and I want to compare the efficacy of two drugs. So now, what is the importance that there are many drugs, but still we do not have an ideal first drug of choice for this particular disease. And there are a lot of studies that have shown that drug A is supposedly better than drug B, or drug B is better than drug A. So the studies have given contradictory result. I want to find out which of these two drugs would be a suitable alternative or suitable first drug to start with in depression. So you should always have a question in your mind, because if you are clear with the concept of introduction, then only you will be able to emphasize on it, and you will be able to present it to the person, or to the reviewer, or to the committee members, whoever are there. So what are the various components now? The components are, you establish the problem or issues. Whatever you see, there's whenever we start with an introduction, we talk about the morbidity and mortality associated with the disease. What is the present prevalence? Maybe prevalence in that particular country, or prevalence in a particular area. What is the incidence? And then what are the various current thinking, what are the various, because what we need to do is we need to keep our audience in mind. You do not need to explain everything about the disease to the audience. Whenever we talk about a journal or maybe a thesis, your audience is a selective lot. They know about the disease, they know about everything. They want to know what is the current view, where there is a gap, and what you are trying to address. That is what the components of introduction deal about. So you should establish the problem or issue. You should provide an overview about the current thinking. You should identify the lacuna, problem, or unresolved issues in the existing knowledge. Now, how can this be clarified? Whenever you look into the various, you review various papers, you'll find certain limitations, or maybe certain areas. There are gap areas. So whenever you start reading papers, there are gap areas, and that is the gap areas that we tend to identify, and that is the gap area that we want to address. You need to state your research question. You need to state the hypothesis and your knowledge in context to previous understanding. Maybe supposedly I have two drugs, drug A and drug B. I say drug A is better than drug B. One study has proved this, the other study proves that drug B is better than drug A. I want to find out which drug is better in the current scenario, in my scenario, in the population that is under study. So that is where the relevance of my research comes into question. Now there are certain strategies for positioning your claim. These strategies could be inquisitive, paradoxical, or corrective. Inquisitive is that there are two hypotheses, two particular plans of management, plan A and plan B. Some studies have shown that plan A is better, the other studies have shown that plan B is better, and I would like to compare so that I could just inquire which one is better. Paradoxical is this says that plan A is better. Now I want to prove that plan B is much better as or plan B is better than plan A. That is paradoxical. Or corrective, whatever is there, if I add something to it, do I enhance the knowledge? That is corrective. So inquisitive, paradoxical, and corrective strategies for introduction, framing your research question, that is where it is important. How do we write an introduction? There is a word limit, and whenever we want to talk about the word limits for an introduction, the best thing that we can do is curtail yourself to 500 to 1000 words. An effective introduction should not be more than 1000 words. So what you need to do, you need to start broadly and narrow down. The funnel type approach that I've been highlighting from the beginning of this particular session. You have to state the aims and the importance of your study. Cite thoroughly but not excessively. Thoroughly means that it is not that you have one statement and that one statement has been cited by 10 research papers and you tend to cite that. So that loses interest. Your research is no longer unique. So cite thoroughly. Whatever you have done, take a thorough view of it. Avoid giving too many citations for one point. That is what I was trying to highlight. Maybe you might have 15 studies, 15 particular papers that you have reviewed, and you want to work on it. So you don't cite all the 15 papers in the introduction. You tend to give 5 papers, 10 papers, or maybe more than that. Even if you give 15 papers, you don't tend to elongate your introduction. What you tend to do is you tend to collaborate the research paper so that there is some these 15 papers would help you in a thorough discussion. That would be at the end of the research. Once your results are there, you have a discussion. So in that particular discussion, you can take care of the citations. Clearly state your hypothesis or research question. What do you want to do? So like I said, okay, the present literature, there has been a thorough literature search that has been done on this particular matter, but uh, no conclusive evidence has been shown. So that is why I want to study whether a plan A is better than plan B or not, or whether plan which of the following plan A or plan B is better. I want to study that. So that is my hypothesis as well as my research question. Always consider giving an overview of paper. Do not start writing elaborately that this particular paper, the result showed that 50% of people were this, 60% of people had this particular symptom, 10% had, like, keep it short. The study has shown salient features. The study has shown that this particular feature is prominent in this particular study showed this particular prominent feature, or the other study showed this particular prominent feature, and I want to study whether the which is the most prominent feature that I will encounter in a disease situation in India, or maybe in the current scenario. So this is to be shown, not told. So you have to show it, and this is the best place to show it is in the discussion. Don't bury your readers in the details, and always check the requirements of the journal. Always, whenever we are talking about writing a research paper, there is a section that is known as, if you look into the website of various journals, there is a section which is known as author guidelines. Read those author guidelines thoroughly. What is the way they want? What is the word limit they have? What are the amount of, there are certain journals that even tend to lay restriction on the number of references that should be there in the introduction. You have to thoroughly work out on the journal requirement that you are trying to focus on. So there are certain rules. These rules are the simpler the better. Don't confuse. Don't try to solve many things in one particular answer. I want to check whether this is effective, safety, cost effective, quality, uh, and utilization, and so on. So too many things create confusion. Whenever you start writing introduction, make many drafts and save these drafts with the date and version. Write in short sentences. Don't elaborate. Don't try to curtail the sentences. Always start the paragraph with punchy topic sentence and end the paragraph with sentence that collect what was important and set up what follows. You should have one idea per paragraph. Avoid starting with lengthy generalization and always keep an eye on the verb tense. This is where we tend to go wrong or tend to go hayward. We do not tend to follow the verb tense. In the beginning, it is future tense. In the middle, you have the present tense, and in the end, you go to past tense. So keep these things in mind. Rephrase from brevity. Let's have certain look. There is an original word that is an original. You need to rephrase your sentences. A wide variety of factors influence the success of treatment of multiple human cancers. Now, if I want to rephrase it, the success of cancer therapy is affected by multiple factors. Both the points say the same, but after rephrasing, it has given a whole lot of meaning to the sentence. Minimize novel abbreviations. Do not tend to go for abbreviations that has been created by you. And you need to be specific when you want to spell out numbers. Normally 1 to 10 you spell out. More than 10 you tend to write the numbers. But if supposedly your sentence begins with a number, then you need to spell it out. Avoid excessive use of jargons, careless phrasing, poor flow of ideas, verbose, and even pompous writing style. Do not follow these. They are not a good part of your introduction. So whenever we want to write an introduction, what we want to know is you should concisely, briefly describe the purpose of a study. You should review the past research on the problem with enough background information, and it should be appropriately referenced. Think of introduction as a funnel. Start from a very broad topic and focus down to your specific research topic. Your final paragraph should include a statement of the hypothesis you have investigated and your prediction. State the specific questions you are attempting to answer. Mention the most important reference and state the research problem. These are certain things that you need to keep in your mind. So whenever we talk about introduction, what introduction means is why do we want to do this particular study? So we'll have 3-4 things that you need to keep in mind. These are the concluding remarks that you need to keep in mind. The first thing is the background, what we already know about it, why it is important, what is the gap that is there, and what I want to find. So these things are categorized as background, rationale, aim, and the research question. So I hope that I have been able to clear some aspects on research question, and I would be happy to answer the queries that you have. If there are any queries, I would be very happy to answer those queries. You can inbox me the queries and I'll get back to you. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope I have been able to be clear